Russia's riot police, famous for cracking heads, were out in force, but this time showed remarkable restraint, an indication perhaps of how worried Vladimir Putin and his ruling motherland party are by the protests. Tens of thousands voiced their anger over alleged election fraud last weekend, which saw Mr. Putin's party win almost 50% of the vote, setting the stage for his probable return to the presidency next year. And in Russia too, the protesters were armed with the modern equivalent of the pitchfork and the Molotov cocktail, cell phones and social media. Here's Asha Tannen.
It's a public outpouring on a scale that's not been seen in Russia for 2 decades. Anti-Putin demonstrators of all ages came together to strike at the heart of power following allegations that Sunday's parliamentary election was rigged.
Me and my wife support this rally, and we will do all we can to make sure that the slogans voiced at this rally are turned into reality, so that the Russian regime changes, so that there isn't a dictatorship in Russia, so that Russia is ruled by proper laws.
For the majority, it was their first demonstration. Under the watchful eye of the Kremlin, just a stone's throw away, this unprecedented rally, which started this morning on the Moscow River, was not just calling for a new and fair election, but it proved to be a catalyst for the brewing discontent felt over Vladimir Putin's regime. Most were from the middle classes, educated and employed, brought together through a Facebook page set up by a Moscow-based journalist.
It's a huge success. I think we clearly delivered the message we wanted to do. Everything went peacefully, no violence, no clashes with the police.
And the sentiment was not just confined to the capital. Across this vast country, demos were staged as far east as Vladivostok, 7 time zones away. In other cities, protesters wore white ribbons as a symbol of peace. Throughout the day, there were some clashes with police. An estimated 50,000 opposition supporters turned out, with their numbers being rivalled by state security forces. For Prime Minister Putin, these protests present a clear message that the mood in Russia is changing.
Despite the fact that there are tens of thousands of people on the streets of Moscow and in other cities, I don't think this is the end of Putin. Putin still has support. And the problem is that the political opposition in Russia is fragmented, it's not well organized, and it lacks charismatic leaders. So I think we are seeing the first developments of a sort of a new page in Russian history, but it's still too early, much too early to predict anything serious coming out of it.
Reports of alleged vote rigging first came to light after this footage was circulated on the internet. The reporter seen in the red jacket appears to show ballot papers found in a toilet of a polling station marked in favour of Mr. Putin's party, and pens in polling booths that can erase ink if a vote needs to be changed. Despite these allegations, United Russia only narrowly retained a majority. Most of today's rallies were approved by city authorities, albeit under their terms. For now, it's a waiting game to see whether the protest movement can achieve what it set out to do and convince the government to hold new elections.